What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the J&A podcast. Today we got Aaron of the A, and also on the other side we got Jeffrey JJ of the J. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you doing, Aaron? That is a very passionate entrance there.
Yeah, it only took me like 2 years. Alright, I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm just, the draft season's coming up, and you already know, more draft content coming to you.
Well, I think anybody that's an actual loyal fan knows what this one's going to be about. Not even without the title, they knew what the next podcast is going to be about. It's going to be the draft class of 2 years ago, which, if I'm not mistaken, is 2017?
Yes, sir.
Alright, well, I'm not mistaken for once, so this is a good start to the episode. Alright, so go ahead and just run down for the people that didn't watch it. Go ahead and tell them what we're doing good.
Tell them about the draft class, in general.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and tell them what we're gonna do, what we're gonna talk about. Just what I'm getting at.
Okay, so if you didn't catch the last episode of the 2015 breakdown of the class, we talked about notable non-first round picks first, and then we go over each pick and kind of talk about how the careers have went so far. So we're basically using the same format here for the 2017 draft class. Just a little synopsis, I guess, of the 2017 class. This was the year of trade-ups. You saw a lot of teams trade up into the first round. Chicago moved up one spot. Let's see. Kansas City moved up 17 spots. The Texans moved up. The Cleveland Browns. Atlanta moved up. And then you also had Cleveland. They traded back into the first round after making 2 selections, I believe.
Which benefited, which was good.
Yeah, and then
Which would be Miles good. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, we'll go over it. But a very interesting draft class overall. Definitely the year of the running backs as well. A lot of all-pro running backs came from this draft class.
Now the thing about that is what we so-called all-pro running backs. They weren't even in the first round.
Yeah, these are all guys in the middle and towards the tail end, as you'll see by the theme of this.
Yeah, as you'll see. That's all we're gonna give you. I just wanted to say that so people knew what they were getting into.
Also, we saw 3 quarterbacks in the first round, all 3 going in the top 12. And 2 of those, no, actually all 3 were trade-ups to get each of those quarterbacks. All right, Aaron, are you ready for the non-first rounders?
Yes, are you ready?
I am, because I have the list in front of me. Alright, so starting from the 7th round, of course, working our way up to pick 33, we have the Seattle Seahawks at pick 249 overall, taking running back Chris Carson, who, by the way, was a contributor to the #1 rushing offense for the Seattle Seahawks this season.
I'm aware that it was a really good contributor.
Absolutely.
He's done really well. And if I'm for sure, just a little shout out to your little Connected franchise. You use him a lot, actually.
Yes, sir. He's my power back, my red zone guy. Yeah. And he does get more touches than a typical red zone caliber running back.
Yeah.
Right here at pick 233 overall, the Carolina Panthers selected kicker Harrison Butker. He's now on the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's one of the more accurate kickers when it comes to extra points made and field goals.
Do you know why he went on a different team? I'm actually asking. Don't throw it back at me.
Honestly, I don't. I just know he was started out on the practice squad, and I think Graham Gano got hurt. And then once Graham Gano was available, they just went back on the practice squad, and I think the Chiefs picked him up, but I can't remember 100%.
Okay. I was just wondering.
No, you're good, brother. Let's see. Let me scroll up a little bit. I'll let you know when I find a notable player. At pick 198 overall, the San Francisco 49ers got nose tackle DJ Jones. A pretty solid contributor. Not a flashy player, but hey, pretty good on the goal line and pretty decent in run defense.
Yeah.
Let's see here. At pick 182 overall, the Green Bay Packers drafted running back Aaron Jones. You see what happens when he gets the carries. He looks pretty good.
Now I'm going to say this, JJ, you didn't really like him at first. I'm going to call it out. I have to do it. I was the one that told you, I was like, I like this kid. And you didn't really talk about him until last year. When they was like, well, you know, I mean, how you feel about it, because I'm just saying.
I mean, initially, I liked Jamal Williams more because of his pass blocking ability. And like Aaron Jones, not really an established guy in the receiving game. But when he got his chance to shine, and that's kind of something I'd kind of been barking, is like, give this dude 20 plus touches. He got the touches, and I believe this is kind of a watered down stat as well, but a good one nonetheless. But he was like the leader for yards per carry with like 5.5 yards a carry. So you knew if you turned it around and gave it back to him twice, he'd get you a first down on average, which is pretty impressive.
That's actually really impressive. I didn't even really know that.
Yeah, it was pretty close. It was between him and Philip Lindsay for the leader in yards per carry. Let's see here. At pick 177 overall, the San Francisco 49ers took slot wide receiver Trent Taylor. Pretty solid receiving option overall.
Yeah.
When he gets in the game, the 49ers have a lot of bodies for the slot.
Yeah. He's all right. Like as y'all know, as y'all probably understand, once we get higher up, we're going to get some really good players. We're just going through the draft right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But all of these guys, when I name them, trust me, they do contribute. Let's see, at 153 overall, the Cincinnati Bengals drafted kicker Jake Elliott, who was picked up off the practice squad by the Philadelphia Eagles. And his most notable field goal was a 61-yarder against the New York Giants to win the game.
Ranger. My bad.
Yes, he is. At pick 151 overall, the Los Angeles Chargers drafted free safety, now corner, and Pro Bowl specialist for like special teams and stuff, Desmond King. Pretty good corner, has a couple of pick sixes in his career. Very versatile as well. Obviously, we talked about him playing safety and corner. Speaking of versatility, the trend does not stop here because at pick 149 overall, the Atlanta Falcons drafted DeMonte Casey.
I love him.
He proved it. He proved it this year.
Especially after his safeties went down.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, when you step in for someone due to injury, you just got to prove it, man. And he did it. And you told me he is potentially being moved to this nickel corner, right?
Yep.
All right, so he has experience at both safety spots and now nickel corner. The versatility, especially at the NFL level, very key.
All right, I also have to do this to you. Go ahead and tell him who he reminds you of.
Tyrann Mathieu.
Yep.
And I love Tyrann Mathieu. Now, I don't know how it'll be with the Chiefs because getting rid of two of your three best pass rushers is not the smartest thing in the world. But we'll see. Not even trying to throw shade at the Chiefs. But I pick 100.
We'll
Go ahead.
We'll see. I was just saying, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. At pick 146 overall, we were talking about this off camera. One of the bigger steals in the draft, the 49ers drafted tight end George Kittle. He just made a Pro Bowl. I believe he broke a record this past season that was only held for like, I don't know, an hour by Travis Kelce. I think it was the most receiving yards by a tight end in a season. And like, George Kittle has been great. And you got to keep in mind, he played with 3 different quarterbacks this year.
Wait, who?
George Kittle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played with 3 different quarterbacks this year, and he broke a record. All right, at pick 143 overall, the Indianapolis Colts took running back Marlon Mack.
Nice, man.
Yeah, pretty strong end to the season. Of course, injuries have kind of slowed him down a bit, but we'll see how he does next season. Okay, so at pick 100 and... Hold on, let me make sure I'm reading it right. I just had it in my face now, I don't see it. Okay, right here. 134 overall, the Green Bay Packers took running back Jamal Williams. Pretty decent when he started, losing the production because Aaron Jones has pretty much outshined them during last season, but he's still a solid contributor. That's about all I can say, but I don't hate him. I like him.
Oh yeah. Wait, what's his name? My bad guy.
Jamal Williams.
Yeah. Alright, that's necessary.
Alright, and at pick 125 overall, the Los Angeles Rams took outside linebacker Samson Ebukam. He had that big game against the Kansas City Chiefs in that shootout where he was getting like fumble recoveries, a ton of sacks. It was just a really crazy game, of course, if you remember. And kind of picked and chose his spots with that dominant defensive line to get his pressures and sacks. Which, if you have some dominant guys on the defensive line, they'll open up holes for you, man.
Yeah. Because that right guard has to go and help the tackle or center, vice versa, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're fixing to get into some notable names, by the way. Some real notable names. 120th overall, the Minnesota Vikings took linebacker Ben Gideon. Started out pretty well in his rookie season. Didn't necessarily decline, but they expected a more of a jump because you're playing next to Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks, I think his name is, the middle linebacker. But he's been solid filling in ever since Chad Greenway retired. So props to him. Like I said, we're getting to those notable names right here because at 119 overall, the Chicago Bears took Tariq Cohen. So we're getting there, man. Tariq Cohen was drafted at 119 overall.
Really?
Yeah, man. Let's see. At pick 117 overall, the Los Angeles Rams took wide receiver Josh Reynolds. Kind of buried on the depth chart as the fourth receiver, but he did get to play a lot last year with the Cooper Kupp injury, and was pretty decent when he got his targets. Very handy for third down.
I like him. He's alright.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's solid. Let's see. At pick 116 overall, the Cincinnati Bengals took defensive end Carl Lawson from Auburn. I thought he would be an early second-round talent, so the fact that he slid to like the middle of the fourth was kind of surprising. So, shout out to the Bengals. They made a good draft pick.
There was a reason, obviously, right?
I guess so, but there were some pretty bad reasons in my book. But you know what? I don't get paid to make those decisions. But it's all good, man. They should pay me. But at pick 112 overall, the Chicago Bears took free safety Eddie Jackson. Coming off 2 stellar years, of course. He had 2 defensive touchdowns in a game, like in the same game, so that was pretty impressive. Unfortunately, the leg injuries, he's had a couple of those, but when on the field, he's one of the better up-and-coming safeties in football.
Yeah.
The Seattle Seahawks at 111 overall, they took safety Tedrick Thompson. Kind of a late bloomer. Like his first year, he didn't really do much because Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas was still there. But when he got the step in, he was pretty decent. Filled in obviously you can't replace that production immediately, but he did a solid job. And not to plug my franchise again, but he's doing pretty solid. Well, you'll see in the next video anyway.
He's got this shot.
At 110 overall, the Jacksonville Jaguars took wide receiver Dede Westbrook. He's been a pretty solid contributor. The Jaguars have a bunch of guys in the receiving corps, but when they get their number called, they all are pretty solid.
Yeah.
Let's see here. At pick 105 overall, the Pittsburgh Steelers took running back James Conner. Of course, played in Le'Veon's absence last season, ended up making a Pro Bowl. And, yeah, he defeated cancer and a major knee injury throughout his college career, and he's doing pretty good for himself.
I'm glad he got a job.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's see, at pick 99 overall, the Philadelphia Eagles took cornerback Rasul Douglas. Really played a lot in his last 2 seasons due to the injuries within the secondary. He's played both free safety and corner at times, and he's been a pretty solid contributor as well. Obviously not the day one starter with everyone healthy, but he's had to come in and he's responded pretty well. Let's see right here. Pick 96 overall, the Detroit Lions took wide receiver Kenny Galladay. I like him a lot. He was playing really well last season, especially when Marvin Jones went down and Golden Tate was traded, and it was just him with like Bruce Ellington and TJ Jones. He really shined as the number 1.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, let's see. At pick 90 overall, the Seattle Seahawks took corner Shaquille Griffin. Of course, the next year they would take his brother, Shaquem Griffin. Really cool to see brothers on the same team. He's been a solid corner.
I got him at the same time.
Oh, no, they didn't get him like in the same draft, but a year apart. And that's cool that they were able to get both brothers on the same team.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Absolutely. We're getting more notable with these picks, guys, I promise. Because at pick 86 overall, the Kansas City Chiefs took running back Kareem Hunt, who of course is on the Browns now. I don't know. Do your research. Only leading the league for rookies in rushing yards. And then last year he had his little incident, but he is with the Cleveland Browns. After he comes back from his 8-game suspension, we'll probably see more of him. But a pretty good playing career so far for him.
Wait, my bad, brother. It was like lagging real bad. I guess it was something on my end. What happened?
Oh, I was just talking about Kareem Hunt and how he's had a good playing career, and after the 8-game suspension, we'll see what he does with Cleveland. Like what his role will be.
That's gonna be something they're not gonna keep. I think it's just gonna be a one year with him there because of Nick Chubb.
Yeah, the emergence of Nick Chubb and.
Because Kareem Hunt done proved he's a starter, and he's gonna want to stay that way. After he proves that he's not gonna do what he did again.
Yeah, and they keep flirting with the idea of trading Duke Johnson, but they haven't yet. So something's gonna have to happen. Like one of those 3 will definitely not be there next year.
Well, obviously Nick Chubb's gonna be there because he's not. While losing, he's on the rookie contract.
Well, yeah. Let me rephrase that. Definitely between Duke Johnson and Kareem Hunt, one of those guys will not be there.
Yeah.
Because I think they both are on 1-year deals, if I'm not mistaken. Like Duke Johnson has 1 year left, and Kareem Hunt obviously on the 1 year.
If you're Kareem Hunt, though, you would rather be in a starting role. Right?
Of course, but at this point,
it won't be the way to go.
Yeah, but at this point, like, not saying the NFL would have blackballed him, but hypothetically, let's say like they were going to, I would just be glad to be on a team.
Well, yeah, of course. But after a year, though, like you done prove that you've got your stuff together and stuff, that then teams will actually look at you, other than your old GM.
Yeah, of course. And not saying he'd go back to Kansas City, but it'd be pretty cool if he did. Like he just goes to Cleveland, leaves, and goes back. But anyway, we're getting off track. We got other players to talk about. At pick 84 overall, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers took wide receiver Chris Godwin. I really like him. personally, I think he is going to take a jump next season because no Adam Humphries, no Deshaun Jackson, you know. So I think he's going to have something to, not necessarily something to prove, but I feel like he will be a better player next year.
Yeah.
Let's see. At pick 73 overall, the Cincinnati Bengals took defensive end Jordan Willis. Pretty solid when he gets to play. More of a rotational pass rusher on the defense, but pretty good when he gets to play. At pick 69 overall, the Los Angeles Rams took wide receiver Cooper Kupp. Pretty good pick, if you ask me.
Yeah.
He looked like he was going to be one of the better slot receivers in the NFL, but then of course he had the, what was it, like an ACL injury or something?
Yeah, he had an injury. ACL.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I hate when a player's having like a breakout, like really good season, and then they get hurt. Kind of pauses the momentum.
Pauses it, it stops it.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, it pauses it, but you can either regain it or just lose it all when you get healthy. But we are getting off track as usual. So at pick 67 overall,
all right.
The new
it's okay for
it goes for both of us. But at pick 67 overall, the New Orleans Saints took Alvin Kamara. Yeah, fucking bum. Nah, seriously though, he is one of the better running backs in the league. Like, he's one of the running backs who is equally as good as, like, running the ball and catching it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, the first guy I think that can do that would be Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, of course. It'd be Le'Veon and then, like, Kamara. In terms of, like, being equally good at both. You sound like you disagree.
No, my bad. I was thinking about something.
It's all good, man. We're gonna move on to our next pick right here. It's 62 overall. The Pittsburgh Steelers drafted wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. We'll see what he does this season. He's been really good in his career so far. This will be the first season where he's, like, quote-unquote labeled as the wide receiver #1. No AB. We'll see what he does when he's the main guy. I like to see that from receivers, where, like, the second guy gets to, like, be labeled as #1. Yeah, we'll see. Like, I think he'll be fine, right? But, you know, the notion of we'll see when he's the guy that's getting double teamed instead of
you gotta
AB.
go think at it from both ways, though. That's possible. You never, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but the thing about what people don't realize is a team don't double team a player unless that player needs to be double teamed. So he's gonna have to, before he gets double teamed, they're not just gonna double team him right off the start. You know, it's gonna be more of a prove it thing.
Yeah, of course. But I'm saying, like, in that situation, we'll see how he does.
Like, week 1 of my game plan, it's not, all right, we're going to double team. We're not, you know what I'm saying? It's just,
yeah, we're gonna see what he can do.
Yeah.
But I'm saying when he's put in that situation, we shall see. At 57 overall, the Houston Texans drafted linebacker Zach Cunningham. You know, they run the 3-4, so they drafted Bernard McKinney, like we talked about in the 2015 draft. And they go ahead and they pair him up with Zach Cunningham, because I believe that offseason Brian Cushing's retired, so they decided to address the middle linebacker spot. So they picked up Zach Cunningham. Let's see. At number 55 overall, the New York Giants drafted defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson. They recently switched to a 3-4. But, like, in his first year, you know, he played next to Jonathan Hankins. And, of course, you had your defensive ends, Vernon and Pierre-Paul. They were pretty good. When they moved to the 3-4, he was more of, like, that run stopper for them. But, of course, we know what the state of the Giants is right now.
Yeah.
But I like him. He's one of those like young players on the defense that I actually like. Let's see. At number 54 overall, the Miami Dolphins drafted linebacker Raekwon McMillan. He didn't really play a whole lot in year one, but last season with rookie Jerome Baker and Kiko Alonso, like that linebacker group was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, year one he didn't really play a whole lot because of injuries and stuff. Alright, I'm gonna keep going. At pick 48 overall, the Cincinnati Bengals took Joe Mixon, the running back.
Guy.
I like him, man. Now, of course, if you remember, like the big story with him was the stuff that went on, like, off the field. And this is an example of a player who didn't let that stuff slow him down or define him.
He defined it, my guy. Okay.
Yeah, well, he just showed the league, like, I'm here.
Yeah.
And should have made the Pro Bowl last season, but Pro Bowl's a joke. I don't even care. I'm not even gonna stress it. But it is what it is. Let's see here. At pick 43 overall, the Philadelphia Eagles drafted cornerback Sidney Jones. I was pretty high on him when he came out. I still am, but injuries have kind of slowed him down as well. But when he was healthy last year, you saw the glimpses of a guy that could potentially develop into a lockdown corner. Not saying he will be, but Sidney Jones.
Yeah, my bad. Sometimes it's weird.
Yeah, I still think he can be a good player, but when you're injured, like you can't really see whether or not he'll be good because he's not on the field. So it was good to see him last season. Let's see. At pick 42, we had the New Orleans Saints taking Marcus Williams, the safety. Of course, people are going to remember the Minneapolis Miracle, but I don't think that play should define him because he is a solid safety. Just a really bad moment in a intense game.
Has a bad moment. Julio's end zone drop. It happens to everybody.
Yeah, it just happens. I mean, I think it's unfair to define somebody by one play. He's still a solid safety, and he's a versatile one, if that. But anyway, at pick 41 overall, the Minnesota Vikings took that running back guy from Florida State, whose name I'm not going to say.
That's not nice.
Well, if you watch one of my older videos, you'll know why I don't want to bring him up. Because he's a little bitch.
Because he's black?
Nah, he's just a bitch who didn't accept my request to get his cheeks tapped in Madden. Yes, sir. Rookie year, he looked like he was going to be really good, though, in all seriousness. He was leading all rookies in rushing yards before his ACL injury. Year two, the offensive line regressed, and so did his, contributions. But I think next year he'll be one of the players who has a big jump. If I were to say something nice about him, I think his production will increase.
I think we're going to have 4 touchdowns game over Green Bay Cardinal.
Yeah, but we'll win 35-31, so it's okay. Because Kirk Cousins will throw 3 picks. It's okay. The Carolina Panthers at pick 40 took... Well, he's listed as wide receiver / running back / kick returner, but he's really a wide receiver. Curtis Samuel. I like him a lot as well. I think he'll improve next year as well. Devin Funchess isn't there. With DJ Moore not really getting targeted as much as you would think. Olsen, who's another foot injury away from going to Fox Sports. I think it's his year to improve his production.
Yeah.
At pick 38, the Los Angeles Chargers took guard Forrest Lamp. Injured in his first season, pretty solid in year 2 when he was able to play. Like I said, when a player's injured, kind of like when we talked about Kevin White in the last episode.
That reminds me of?
What's that?
Or what it's going to remind me of?
What, like the scenario where?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Georgia's last tackle that went to the Patriots.
Isaiah Wynn. I'm glad you brought him up because we're going to talk about him next episode.
Okay.
Yes, we will. Yeah, I know. I know the situation. It is similar because they both missed their rookie seasons.
Training camp too, right? He didn't even get to fucking play a game. Like, we didn't even get to see.
Yeah,
fucking high from him.
What's funny is they both got injured during training camp. Let's see. Pick 37. Like I said, we're almost there to the first round. The Buffalo Bills drafted wide receiver Zay Jones. They're high on him. I think he's okay. With them getting more receivers around them in the offseason, like John Brown and Cole Beasley, we'll see like what those red zone targets will look like. Because I view him more as a red zone threat. If you had to like Madden terms, if you had to label a wide receiver, you know, he's got the size, he can run, decent route runner, so I think he'll be fine this year. Probably a low yardage, high touchdown guy. Let's see here. At pick 36, the Arizona Cardinals took safety / nickel corner Budda Baker. He's made the Pro Bowl as a special teamer, so good for him. And of course, Washington just seems to produce a lot of really good defensive backs, and there's no exception when talking about Budda Baker.
Yeah.
We got 2 more picks, and we're almost at the first round, guys. The Jacksonville Jaguars drafted offensive tackle Cam Robinson. He looked good in his rookie season, but then he got hurt, and in his second season, he looked like he was starting to regress, which could be a sophomore slump situation. But hopefully he can turn it around because there's kind of a drought at the tackle position for Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And at pick 33, the Green Bay Packers selected Kevin King, the cornerback. Solid when healthy, but you know, he's got that Green Bay stigma about him. Got to miss 6 games at least. But like I said, solid when healthy. I like the size and the athletic profile of him. And of course, a Washington defensive back from the University of Washington. Alright, you ready for the first round, Aaron?
Let's do it.
Alright, so like we did last time, I'm going to give you 4 players, and we'll kind of talk about them all collectively, like 4 at a time. So, at pick number 1 overall, the Cleveland Browns took Myles Garrett, the defensive end from Texas A&M. The Chicago Bears traded up 1 spot and gave up a lot of picks, by the way, to draft quarterback Mitchell Trubisky from North Carolina. The San Francisco 49ers drafted defensive end Solomon Thomas. And at number 4 overall, the Jacksonville Jaguars drafted LSU running back Leonard Fournette. So your thoughts on the 4 individuals we just spoke of?
Myles Garrett. There's still other players that you could have picked above him, but you know, he's been really solid for the 2 seasons. Hell, he even got a 90 in Madden. That tells you something about it for you. Trubisky wasn't worth a trade up. I would never trade my picks up to get Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade my picks to get Ryan Tannehill either. Oh, what?
Oh, well. I'm trying to think of some of the other players. What's the other 2?
Oh, Solomon Thomas at 3, and then Leonard Fournette at 4.
Leonard Fournette, I really liked him coming out. Everybody thought he was going to go to Carolina.
I did. Credit to you. I was one of those guys.
Jacksonville.
Solomon Thomas.
He had a bad season last season, but he's going to get it up. And then Solomon Thomas. What do you have to say about him?
You know, I think this is a good time for me to just jump in. I'll just talk about all 4, and I'll do Solomon Thomas last. Myles Garrett, kind of a slow start to his rookie season. People were really questioning whether or not he should have been the #1 overall pick. And I know it's a little too early to say, but based on last season, I will say he kind of answered those questions. Because he did have 12.5 sacks, which tied the second place for Defensive Player of the Year, Khalil Mack. Pretty good against the run as well. I thought he'd be more of a run stopper with a decent pass rushing package that would eventually develop. I know people were comparing him to Jadeveon Clowney, but he did get 12.5 sacks, so shout out to him. Trubisky wouldn't trade up for Ryan Tannehill 2.0, but I guess he's been alright for Chicago. First year was kind of... Yeah, first year is just kind of whatever, because, you know, he didn't start for a little bit, because, like, Mike Glennon was the starter. But then he came in and he was okay. Didn't expect much. Year 2 with Matt Nagy and this little offensive system, he was okay. Made the Pro Bowl after like 5 quarterbacks said, nah, we ain't going, but he made it.
It's going to be another Dak Prescott situation. Do you give this man a contract or do you just move on? That's what he's going to do.
Well, I think, speaking for the Bears, not for myself, but they'll probably look at what the other options are before they make that decision. Me, no. I wouldn't even do it. Because, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're already paying Khalil Mack. Like, that's where your investment was made. You got guys like Tariq Cohen, Eddie Jackson, Akeem Hicks, and his contract ends. Like, you got guys you got to think about paying, too. And you can only restructure contracts for so long, so they got to start thinking. But, Leonard Fournette, really good in his first season. The hamstring injury kind of hindered his second season, but I expect him to pick it back up in year 3. And Solomon Thomas, I don't know. Of course, he was drafted as a defensive end and a 4-3, but he plays more like a defensive tackle. So, like, he's a really good run defender, not the greatest pass rusher. So, based on him being drafted to be a pass rusher, not good, but a good run defender.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, the next 4 picks, the Tennessee Titans drafted wide receiver Corey Davis. At number 6 overall, the New York Jets would take the best safety in New York, Jamal Adams. At number 7, the Los Angeles Chargers would take Clemson wide receiver Mike Williams. And at number 8 overall, the Carolina Panthers would take running back Christian McCaffrey. Thoughts on those 4?
Alright, Chris McCaffrey, big fan of him. I really like what he's done in Carolina. And I'm looking forward to see what he does in the future, but not to the Falcons, hopefully. Then we got, I really just had him in my head because I want to talk about him. What was the second name you said?
The second name I said... Here, hold on, let me pick up my phone. The second name that I said was Jamal Adams.
Jamal Adams, I'm a really big fan of him. Like, I like saying this. If Madden gives you a good overall, you're normally good, or you just came off with bad or a good season, and he has a good overall in Madden, which automatically means he's just a great player.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm just playing around a little bit, but I'm a big fan of him. Mike Williams, I really don't have that much to say about him. I got to see more from him. What was the first name?
Corey Davis.
Same for him. Tennessee, right?
Yes.
Now I like Corey Davis coming out. I was a big fan of him. He's done, and not saying he's done bad or anything, but you know, I need some jumps coming from these players.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll start. So, Corey Davis, similar to Mike Williams, so I might as well just speak for both of them. Year 1, hurt. Injury slowed him down. Year 2, they look like, you know, really solid receiving options. But yes, we do need to see a big year 3 jump from both of them. The best safety in New York, Jamal Adams. Well, he's the last safety standing because Landon Collins is out of town. So, really good player. Overall, man, he can go in the box. He's a great coverage guy. And that's really all I have to say. And then Christian McCaffrey. We were just talking about like running backs who are just as good when it comes to running the ball and catching it. I would say he's probably the third or fourth best at that.
My man has the 85 catching in that, and come on now.
Yeah, man. Let's get to these next four. So the Cincinnati Bengals drafted blazing combine record speed breaker John Ross, the wide receiver from Washington. The Kansas City Chiefs traded up like 17 picks to get quarterback Patrick Mahomes. The New Orleans Saints drafted cornerback Marshawn Lattimore, and the Houston Texans traded up to get quarterback Deshaun Watson. So the first... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Big fan. Yeah, Deshaun Watson. I was a huge fan of him coming out. Still is a huge fan. I like what he does. And something he even worked on. Something that I like to. That's something I'm known for criticizing players about is, you know, if you're a running quarterback, you like to do that. You like to run before you look. And he's worked on that. I really like that about him. What else do I say? Pretty much. I mean, he's just. I'm glad Houston got him. And then you go. I need this list. We gotta start. You know, we gotta work on this. I need the list.
Oh, like of the other picks.
I forget. Yeah, because I didn't forget some of these players' names.
At number 9 overall, the Bengals drafted John Ross. At number 10 overall, the Chiefs traded up to get Patrick Mahomes, and then 11, Marshawn Lattimore.
Alright, Marshawn Lattimore, he's really good, won Rookie of the Year. He deserved it. And then, what was that first name?
John Ross, our combine speed breaker.
Yeah. John Ross, you know, a lot of talent coming in. He got injured. He's not who he could have been. He's not who he should have been. That's pretty much what I have to say about him. I mean, you knew that was coming. And then one more, right?
Oh yeah, our league MVP, Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, I like him. Maybe sometimes tries to be too fancy, but he's definitely proved himself in the league. Maybe one more year, and I'll put an emphasis on that. But yeah, he had a really good second season, and you know he showed potential in his first year, last game.
Absolutely. So, John Ross, injuries, man, and not really living up to the hype, I guess you could say. In his second year, he was a low yardage, high touchdown guy. I think he didn't play a lot of games, but he had like 7 touchdowns.
Who?
Which John Ross. Which I'll take, but you gotta stay healthy, man.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, he just won the league MVP. If we're going based off what we just seen from him, he looks like he's gonna be a really damn good quarterback. But you know, we can't. We'll have to wait and see. You know, Marshawn Lattimore, one of the better defensive backs in the game. Kind of a slower year too, but in the playoffs, definitely backed it up. And the Houston Texans getting Deshaun Watson. I like him, but Houston, you mind doing me a favor? You offensive line for this guy. Like, do you mind getting an offensive line for him so he doesn't get sacked 62 times next year?
Right.
Alright, let's try to pick up the pace a little bit. So the Arizona Cardinals took linebacker Hassan Reddick. The Philadelphia Eagles drafted defensive end Derek Barnett. The Indianapolis Colts selected safety Malik Hooker. And the Baltimore Ravens selected cornerback Marlon Humphrey.
See, the thing... Alright, so... the guys like Marlon Humphrey, I don't even have that much to say about him. He's just that guy. Well, not that guy, but he's just a guy, you know? So I think... you know what I'm gonna do when we do this again is, so I don't have to keep on asking, is I'm gonna get a list off of Google, okay?
Okay.
Cause I don't want to be that guy to keep on asking, you know.
That's okay.
But will you tell me the other 3? So I'm sorry.
Wait, you want me to tell you about the players?
No, yeah, my bad, man.
Hassan Reddick coming out of Temple.
See, I don't even know that much about that guy. He hasn't. That's somebody I want to talk about.
Yeah, Hassan Reddick coming out of Temple. a very versatile player. At Temple, when I say he literally lined up everywhere, he literally lined up everywhere, even like nickel corner. And he's listed as a linebacker. He really hasn't found a true like home position, and he's really not dominant at one position. But it's good to be able to plug and play him. But you would like to see him become really good at a certain spot. But he's a guy with a high upside. Derek Barnett, rotational pass rusher for Philadelphia. They're stacked on the defensive line. But he's a guy who gets good pressures when he comes in. Malik Hooker, injuries have kind of killed him, but very productive player when healthy. And Marlon Humphrey, solid corner. You know, he's like the third corner for Baltimore, but he's a good corner for them.
I like it, Jeffrey.
You like it? Alright, then let's keep the momentum going. At 17 overall, the Washington Redskins selected defensive lineman Jonathan Allen. At 18 overall, the Tennessee Titans selected cornerback Adoree Jackson. At pick number 19 overall, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers took tight end O.J. Howard. And at pick 20 overall, the Denver Broncos selected left tackle Garrett Bowles.
To me, that left tackle is just, you know, yeah, I don't think he's been horrible, but he's been like average to me. OJ, not OJ. Simpson, I liked him coming out. I think he's gonna have a big breakout season this year.
Who, O.J. Howard?
Yeah.
Did you say O.J. Simpson? Let me just ask you. It's okay. He's a killer too. On the field. And of course, Jonathan Allen and Adoree Jackson.
This is some of the players that I don't even really know that much about, just because like they haven't really shown me anything.
Well, you know what? You've come to the right place, cause I got you, Aaron.
You know, you're such a dad.
Oh man, so at pick 17, like I said, Jonathan Allen was selected. Pretty solid. Washington's done a good job of building up their defensive line over the last 2 years. Of course, now they have Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and Matthew Ioannidis. They're a really good run-stopping defensive line. Adoree Jackson, fun fact, he has been a punt returner, a cornerback, a safety. He's even gotten running plays on offense. So he's very versatile. Yeah. He had a 22-yard run like 2 years ago. He's a very like fun player to watch, I guess, for the Tennessee Titans. For those who watch Tennessee games, I guess. O.J. Howard, I like him as a player. He could potentially take a jump next season. I think it just depends on Jameis Winston, honestly, and Bruce Arians. And Garrett Bowles, when healthy, yeah, he's pretty average, I guess you could say. We're kind of waiting on him to take the next step, because he was one of those rookies who got injured in his first season.
Yeah.
Alright, we are almost done.
This was one of the main drafts. This is the first draft I really got into. Like, I was actually like really excited to do this and that with. That's why I wanted to do this draft, because I was like, not because I necessarily knew every player coming out, but because this is my first ever draft I was actually like by.
Yeah, like you were invested a little bit more in this one. Let's see here. At 21 overall, the Detroit Lions took linebacker Jarrett Davis from Florida. The Miami Dolphins took pass rusher Charles Harris. The New York Giants took tight end Evan Ingram. And the Oakland Raiders took corner Garyon Conley.
Wait, what was that tight end name?
Evan Ingram.
Actually, I like Evan Ingram. He's shown a lot of, not necessarily improvement, but what's it? Upside. Just I can't think of the other word. I like Ingram. I'm glad to see what he's gonna do in the future. What's the other guy? Just name one guy at a time.
Jarrett Davis, linebacker for the Detroit Lions.
What's his name?
Jarrett Davis, linebacker.
he's all right in my eyes. Like like he hasn't missed in my. I haven't in my eyes said that he's had like a huge game that everybody would know who he is. Unless I'm missing something, but I never think he's had that big of a game, has he?
Nah, he's kind of. This is weird because like you expect players to like improve. He's kind of been the same player for 2 years, which isn't bad. He's just like a decent player, but you would think you would make a jump. Maybe he's just a late bloomer. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe it'll take him like a year or two before he takes that Pro Bowl jump. You never know.
What's another one?
Well, this guy hasn't played a lot, but Charles Harris for the Miami Dolphins. He's a pass rusher.
Yeah, I can't really say I'm not gonna try just because he's been injured, right?
Yeah, injuries, and the Miami Dolphins have done a good job of like building their defensive lineup. So he kind of got buried in the depth chart a little bit. And then Gary Conley for Oakland, the corner.
He's another average player of mine. Nothing. Like he's been maybe I think he's another like not necessarily late bloomer because he's not bad, but I feel like he needs to do his. I think it's time for his jump too.
Yeah, well said there. Jarrett Davis already talked about. So Charles Harris, yeah, buried under the depth chart. I think the Dolphins expect him to make that next jump, but the question is, will he? We'll have to find out. Evan Ingram, a solid receiving tight end. Not a good blocker, but in today's NFL, I mean, you don't necessarily have to be the greatest blocker. But hopefully, the injuries won't hinder him. And then Gary Conley, solid corner, I guess. Easily the best corner for Oakland. So, speaks to how weaker the cornerback spot is for them. Alright, so a few more picks to go. The Cleveland Browns took safety Jabril Peppers. The Atlanta Falcons took pass rusher Takk McKinley. The Buffalo Bills took cornerback Tre'Davious White. And the Dallas Cowboys took defensive end Taco Charlton.
Alright, Takk McKinley had that emotional stage speech or whatever about his grandmother.
Yeah, that was great.
He had an all right second season. His first season, maybe a small little injury. Same thing for his second season. He had a small little injury, but he was a lot better in his second season. You saw a small little jump, and I'm expecting a bigger jump this year. Same as Vic, but I had to bring him up. I'm sorry.
It's okay, man. It's fine. It's our podcast. We make the rules. Jabril Peppers, 25 overall.
Jabril Peppers. I like Jabril Peppers going into this. I haven't kept that many tabs on him. I was a big fan of him coming out because of his body type and stuff. I will say this: he hasn't been horrible, but he just got traded to New York, and a good player don't get traded. So I mean, typically doesn't get traded. So that's what I gotta say about him. I think he was going to be another player to have a third-year jump, but second-year jump. He was about to have a third-year jump, like a lot of these players that we're talking about right now.
Right.
But I don't know now that he's went to New York. Maybe that helps. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
All right. So Jabril Peppers played out of position first year, more of a free safety. He's more of like a sub linebacker, strong safety type. Really good second year. We'll see what he does for New York. Takk McKinley, I like his upside. I like it. I think he will take I won't say a smaller jump, but it depends on the success of like everybody around him. Like if he'll be able to pick his spots and get those like much needed pressures and sacks. Let's see, Tre'Davious White. I mean, all I'm going to say is if Marshawn Lattimore was not in this draft, he's probably the best corner in it. Because, like, Buffalo, they've done a good job with their secondary. I know they've been a bad team, but if there was ever one thing you can point to, that was their secondary. And Taco Charlton, he's a jag, man. Just a guy. I don't really have anything to say about him because he's been a rotation player and not the best one at that.
Yeah. All right.
Alright, so these are the last 4 picks. The Cleveland Browns traded up with the Packers to select tight end David Njoku. The tight end.
They were so active that year. That was so crazy.
I know, they did a lot. At pick 30, J.J. Watt's brother T.J. Watt was selected by the Steelers. At pick 31, we saw the 49ers take middle linebacker Reuben Foster. And at pick 32, the New Orleans Saints took offensive tackle Ryan Ramczyk.
David Njoku, he has a lot of upside. I really like what he's going to do in this league. That's pretty much what I'm going to say about him. I like David Njoku. T.J. Watt, he's done shown what he can do. He's done proved what he did. You know, he had a big game against the Falcons. Had a big game against multiple teams last season. He's not reached his ceiling yet, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's still a lot of room to grow.
Yep. What was the other two?
Reuben Foster and Ryan Ramczyk.
I like Reuben Foster. He just had a lot of off-field issues that were being talked about, that's a lot of players these days, sadly.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But I like him now. He's on the Redskins.
Yeah, he's with the Washington Redskins.
Damn, I'm good. All right.
Yeah, man, you're getting good, man. I like it.
And you know, he's I'm not quite sure. I didn't keep tabs on him. What happened with him and with the Redskins so far? I'll let you elaborate on that if you want. And then is there one more?
Yeah, Ryan Ramczyk, the right tackle for New Orleans.
Trash. Next. He's all right. He's average.
Alrighty, so David Njoku, same thing. I like his upside. Had a really good year with Baker. T.J. Watt, I like him, man. I like him as well. Really good pass rusher. Like I said, you know, depending on how much stock the viewer puts into the Pro Bowl, he made that. I don't think he was a replacement either, so it speaks to how good he was. T.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Reuben Foster, yeah, he had his little off the field concerns. It's not even little, but you know, like small stuff because charges were dropped and all that. So the Washington Redskins just got a free linebacker. That franchise is just in a mess. I really don't even want to talk about it until we get to our post-draft, like which teams are going to fall off and succeed and yada yada yada. And then Ryan Ramczyk, it's hard to really find good offensive linemen to play on the right side. And I think with all the talent around him, his game is elevated as well. So, shout out to him. And we did it. Yeah, we did it, Aaron. We made it through the draft.
No way.
Yes way. Go ahead and close it out, man. We did it.
I hope you guys have enjoyed. You know, I think I say every time, if y'all don't like anything that we said, get on here, say something about it. I know we're running out of time, so I'm not going to go into much detail about that. Just look at the other ends of the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out.
Peace.